Hey, hope you guys are doing great. Uh, today's topic is why there's no success without radical responsibility. So I'm actually going to define what these words mean, so you understand what I'm talking about with radical responsibility. Why you will never have success in any area of life, whether it's your finances, your fitness, wherever area of your life, without radical responsibility. So first of all, what is responsibility? Everybody's like, I'm responsible. I'm responsible for my kids. Responsibility is being in charge of something or being the cause of something, right? And you can't if you're gonna control any area, you've got to be willing. The willingness to take responsibility for that area is extremely important and high on that list. So it's like, okay, so I'm going to be in charge of this, especially with money. A lot of people are very irresponsible with money because you're never taught how to be responsible with money. You're never taught necessarily how to be in charge of money, how to be in charge of your finances. So as a result, your finances are largely in charge of you, whether you recognize it or not, whether you agree with it or not. Your finances largely is determining so many things in your life. Money, your money you make determines so many things in your life. It determines where you live, what type of car you drive, what you can do, even which part of the plane you fly in. Whether you fly private or you fly commercial, which part of the plane you fly in, your money is literally dictating all of that. So it must be something that is important for you to know something about, and then being responsible for it so that you can do the things you want to do with it, because it really is just a tool. What's up, Femi, PJD, official, Natalie G? What's up, guys? One bald PR. Charlotte Hudson, what is up, everybody? So look, we're talking about no success without radical responsibility. So radical, what's a radical? What does radical even mean? It means extreme or unusual. Something's either extreme or is unusual. So there's, by the way, there's a common reason why when people come here to America as an immigrant, why their chances of success statistically is higher than if somebody was born in America. Just statistically. Their chances of success statistically is higher than somebody who was born in America. Why is that? Part of the reason, and you'll look at, even if you're born in America, if you had some sort of adversity, you got to overcome some level of adversity, your chances of success are a lot higher. There's a reason. If you look at like athletes, most of the athletes who end up making it successful, listen to their stories, dude. Listen to their stories. Massive adversity they had to overcome. There is a link between overcoming adversity and being successful. And the pathway is radical responsibility. Somebody sent me a video about Coach Prime. So Coach Prime, those of you who don't know him, this guy was a masterful athlete. Now he's coaching college football. So somebody sent me that video. In the video, he was talking about how his mom never saw him play any sports in high school. She was a single mom. She worked all the time. She never saw him play any sports. So he took that and used that as fuel for his success. He's like, his mom was working all the time. She couldn't be at any of his games. This guy was like all-state athlete in multiple sports. I mean, he was like high level. This guy as a physical specimen in terms of sports was at a high level. This guy was playing dual sports at one point at a professional level. Okay, so this is not like a regular person. All right, so this guy was playing football, baseball, and I think he also played basketball. So I mean, this was like a phenomenal athlete. So he used that. He used that as fuel for reaching his certain level of success. So he takes that. Whenever somebody's overcome some level of adversity, you become tougher in what you can handle. So, and then you end up taking responsibility for that. Because when life knocks you down, you have to then be able to rise back up. You have to take some level of responsibility to rise back up and handle whatever it is that knocked you down. Because in life, lots of things would knock you down. First of all, we live on a pretty crazy planet. Think about it. We are the only species on this planet that has created the means to destroy ourselves. Literally. So we've created the means to destroy ourselves. Like you got a bunch of different countries with nuclear weapons. So we literally have the means to destroy ourselves, but we haven't. So that tells you something about the nature of man. Man, I believe mankind's basically, majority of people are good. There are some evil people, but majority of the people are good because we haven't destroyed ourselves, but we have created a means to destroy ourselves. So that means there's something aberrated about this whole condition on this planet, right? It's an aberrated, weird stuff. So in order for you to create the level of success you're trying to create, whatever heightened level of success, there's some level, there's massive radical responsibility you have to take for that area, which is why the whole victimization thing, I don't tolerate any kind of victimization talk around me, because first of all, no matter how much difficulties you've gone through in your life, it's not to invalidate your difficulties, but know how much difficulty you've gone through in your life. I probably personally know a dozen people who had it way worse than you. Way by far worse than you. I probably had it worse than you, dude. So I guarantee you the majority of people on this planet have never lived through a civil war like we lived through. Never. So you've got to get the mind. That's right. Diamond Mind talks about mindset. Mindset is key. It's your perspective. It's the radical responsibility. Radical means unusual. Do you realize most people on the planet today want to blame other people for the conditions that they are in? They will blame other people for the conditions they're in. They'll blame the government. They'll blame their parents. They'll blame all this stuff. I even see parents. It's so stupid. First of all, parents, I see them criticize their children. Whose responsibility is your kids? It's you. So if your child has significant issues and problems, why aren't you not looking in the mirror? Like, what did you do or didn't do to take responsibility for that outcome of how they turn out? Like why is your child a screw up? And what are you going to do about it? So it's funny. It's like people talk about millennials, and you know who complains about millennials is like the generation before them and their grand. So like baby boomers end up complaining about millennials. Well, who was it? Whose responsibility was it to raise them? People talk about entitlement mentality and participation trophy. Whose responsibility was it to prevent them from getting participation trophies? My kids never got participation trophies. I coached a soccer team for a couple of seasons, and they wanted to give participation trophies to the team. We did not show up. I'm like, if you guys want to go, you can go. I'm like, we didn't even talk about the damn participation trophies. Okay, so it wasn't like a tournament in which you got to win the tournament or anything like that. It was just a season. You won a number of games. We had a winning season. We won more games than we lost. Our first season, we sucked. I think we only won maybe one game. I don't even know if we won any games. I can't remember. But we sucked. This was like middle school kids, not elementary school, middle school kids were trained. It was they needed coaches. My son was learning how to play soccer, and they needed extra coaches. So I went and coached. My wife and I coached, right? I played soccer in high school and college. Very competitive in high school. We were ranked very high in the nation. We had a tournament. About all kinds of teams from across the nation came. We took third place in the tournament. The team that took first place was like a badass team. They were just like the favorites to win, and they were like super gung-ho about the whole thing. We were never going to really be number one or even number two, but we becoming number three in that tournament of like dozens of teams from all across the country, that was a phenomenal achievement. That was in 2000. One of the players on our team was on the cover of Wheaties, was on the Wheaties cover. So we had a very, very good team, and we still came in third. So maybe I'll post that picture today. Me with my high school team, and then we had like this trophy. We actually earned the trophy. It wasn't a participation trophy. So if you don't get participation trophies in life, you don't get participation trophy in your finances. Everybody's participating in that game. So in any area that you want to succeed in, you've got to look at how do you take radical responsibility, not just any regular level of responsibility. Just doing the regular is not going to be enough because it takes a lot more to get things done. For example, there's people who would go to the gym. This used to happen to us. We'd go to the gym and just go on a treadmill. And then we weren't like making progress. We'd go to the gym consistently, but we weren't making any progress. We had to literally take responsibility for, hey, why are we not making the progress we want to make? And we realized, okay, we weren't eating properly. There's different things we weren't doing. We didn't have a clear workout plan, all of that. So then we take responsibility for that. There is nothing wrong, in my opinion, with being extreme or unusual about the things that are survival to your life. There is nothing wrong with you being extreme or unusual about the things that will help you survive better in life. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I believe that in terms of going after goals and dreams, many people are very passive about it. And a lot of times I'm outflowing, but the information is also things I'm doing. The conversation I have with myself. I'm like, dude, is there any area you're being passive in that you need to be more aggressive in? Any area of your life. Okay, I need to be more aggressive at the gym. So I was talking with my trainer today. We're talking about coming out with a more aggressive game plan for my workouts. So there's a target I wanted to hit on my body fat percentage and then building muscle. So it's like, okay, so we're very close to that target. Now we need to be more aggressive so we can do the next stage of what we're trying to do. It's the same thing with your money. Do you have financial targets? And are you aggressively going after your financial targets? Do you have any targets when it relates to your money? Do you track anything when it relates to your money? Like I track our fitness. Every day I relate something to my fitness that I track. Why? Because my fitness is important to me. And by the way, nobody wants to listen to a fat businessman. Nobody wants to listen to a fat businessman. Okay. That's just my reality. I don't want to listen to a fat businessman. I understand if you got medical problems, whatever it is, nothing against you if you're fat. But I believe that there is that certain things become allowed in your universe and it becomes tolerated in your universe. At the gym, there's all kinds of people at the gym, fat, skinny, old. I have tremendous respect for anybody who exercises because it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do. I was at my gym at 6 in the morning. It was like packed. I'm like, okay, great. It's awesome. People are here. It's not easy to do. Same thing in one area. You've got to do it in other areas. And you've got to look at being successful from a point of radical responsibility, taking ownership for everything that happens. So the other day, I made that comment on a video that somebody was showing me. There was a guy who was like, this guy pulled out a gun on the cops and the cop shot him. Great topic for a Monday morning. The cop shot him. He pulled out a gun, started shooting at the cops. The cops shot him and he got taken out. So I said, well, that's his individual responsibility. He made the choice to pull out his firearm and shoot at the cops, and the cops killed him. So, I mean, I hate that I hate that any of that happened, but that's his choice. So in your life, the outcomes that happen to you are results of your choices. If I'm fat, it's the result of my choices. If I'm broke, it is the results of my choices. Some people are not ready for that conversation. That you're literally continuing to choose to be broke. And a lot of times people aren't confronting that. They're not confronting that they're broke or that they're broken. They're not confronting that. Dude, and then sometimes society doesn't want you to talk so much about that. If you're hurting, it's okay for you to say you're hurting. If you're broken, if something's impacting you inside, it's okay for you to say that. But a lot of times people suffer in silence. It's not good to suffer in silence. Part of taking responsibility is taking responsibility for your emotions. What is happening inside of you that you may need to talk to other people about? That can help you. That can help you understand and look at something differently. So one of the things that I always look at, and here's the thing, we're actually going to do a thing, Chelsea and I are going to do something for couples in business together. So my wife and I been married, wrote this book about couples and money called Let's Fight About Money. And this book came because people would ask us all the time, how do you guys run a business together? How do you raise a family, run a business together, do all these things together? You're together all the time. How do you do that? They're like, oh, I'll kill my spouse. If I had to work with my spouse, I'll kill my spouse. Do you realize how insane that sounds? You mean you chose to marry somebody, one of the most important decisions you can make in your life. And the fact that you are working with them, you will want to kill them? I mean, did you marry somebody you can't stand? How did you pull that off? So understand, sometimes you're communicating things that are a little bit wacko, that you would want to kill your spouse. No, I purposely looked for a spouse I could be in business with, because I wanted somebody to work with me to build something. So I purposely looked for a spouse I could be in business with. Before I met Chelsea, I dated a girl who wanted nothing to do with business. No, it doesn't matter if you don't have to pick somebody that wants to be in business with you. It was, I looked at it, I'm like, dude, I got to take responsibility for any relationship that I'm going to be a part of. I need to qualify the person. So I qualified her. I didn't care what ethnicity she was, all this stuff. I didn't care about none of that stuff. I was trying to find somebody. I'm a spiritual being. Whether she's red, blue, black, orange, green, all of this is a spacesuit. Okay. This is a spacesuit me as a spiritual being wear on this planet. Okay. This is a spacesuit. This spacesuit happens to be black. That's what people call this color. It happens to be black. The spacesuit she wears happens to be white. Okay. People get fixated on the spacesuit and not looking at the spiritual being. I was looking at her as a spiritual being and like, what does she want? What's her objectives? What's her goals? I had to take responsibility for, one, what kind of person I was going to marry. If I'm going to be responsible and try to and build a business, I was already building a business already. I already have my business, everything going. I wanted somebody to come in and merge into that. So I had to qualify that. And so, but your success will not happen without the extent in which you take that level of responsibility for every area of your life, any area, even your vices, your vices in terms of, I don't drink. I have a drink now and then, but I barely consider it drinking. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. Because when you're doing that, people are like, I'm living my best life. You're living your best life, but you're fogging your mind. If you're on drugs, how can that be your best life? Because you need something external to put into your body in order to live your best life. Now, I understand that people need medication for certain things. I'm not knocking any of that stuff. But if you need something else, it means you're escaping from your reality. You're doing the drugs to escape your reality. So you're not necessarily taking responsibility on it. I'm not knocking people who do drugs. That's your thing. But wouldn't it be optimum for you to not do drugs? For you to take the level of responsibility to where you can do all the things you want to do without some sort of external stimulation shit? Like maybe you're missing information that can allow you to do the things you want to do without drugs. Like I've never liked drugs. In Africa, people don't really they don't really do drugs. I never grew up around drugs. In America, America is the most medicated country, the most fucking drugged up country in the world. They advertise drugs on television. You realize externally people think that is crazy. They think something's wrong with a bunch of Americans. Like, dude, what's up with all the drug commercials? Drugs all the time. Everybody's drugged. Because they don't preach you taking responsibility. They preach that there's a drug that will fix you. There's this thing you can take that will fix you. And so people don't take the level of responsibility they should take. They turn to the drugs or the alcohol or whatever the vice is, they turn to that. And then that's the thing they're hoping to fix them. Yet they still feel very empty. They still feel very empty. They still feel broken, all these different things. Some of them still feel very lonely. And then you got social media where everybody's living their best life on social media. So it looks like everybody else is doing better than what you're doing. And there's people out there who are missing some love. Some of the people just need some love, man. And so people get online and they're worried about if somebody likes their photos or not. Because a lot of times people are looking for external validation. When you start to validate yourself and what you have to offer, and the way you do that is by increasing your value to yourself. You're always going to be your greatest asset. And your mindset is what helps you execute on you being your asset. You validate yourself. Every time you do something that you are supposed to do is a validation of self. Every time you do something you know you're not supposed to do, you violated your own ethics, and so you don't feel good about it. Because you let your own self down. You know when you let yourself down. I know when I let myself down. So you got to validate yourself. And the way you do that to validate yourself is you do the things that you say you're going to do. Small things, big things, whatever. And you know the times that any times that I've disliked myself, and I'm like, oh man, dude, I should do better. Every time that happens is because there were things I said to myself I would do, and I either did not do them, or I half-assed them, or I did not complete them, whatever it is. You've got to be able to do that and be willing to validate and take responsibility for that. And I did a live the other day when I said, I think a lot of people are lying to themselves. Because there's this social thing that people wear, social mask. If you ask somebody, how you doing? Good. It's the normal response. Good. Dude, even if they're having a crappy day, a shitty day, they'll all say the initial response, good. Everything's good, man. No, dude, your shit's not good. When you start to confront things, you become aware of, oh, okay, I need to take responsibility for this area, this area, this area. I need to handle this better. I need to do this stuff. This all happens to me. And I'm just sharing with you the things that I've learned that's helped me in my life. And hopefully that can be beneficial to you. There's so many people who are great in one area and terrible in so many other areas. Like everybody loves Oprah. Everybody loves Oprah. Oprah's phenomenal. Come up through struggle, gets fired from a job, comes up, starts her own network, everything. But even Oprah admits that she struggled with her physical fitness. She struggled with that. So there's an area in which something is out, whether it's like a diet, whether it's whatever it is. So look for people who are not just good in one. I know so many people who are great in business and their kids hate them. The marriage sucks. Now, of course, nobody's marriage is perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm a very imperfect person. But you've got to take responsibility for all these different areas. And it starts by taking responsibility for self, taking responsibility for yourself, your actions, your results. And if your results in life, if you're going to be honest with yourself, if your results in life are not where you want them to be, then there is something you are missing. There's either something you don't know or there's something you know and you're not doing. It's usually one of those two things. And most of the time, people think it needs to be more complicated than that. We get asked all the time about finances. We have a financial business. For those of you who are new to my page, we have clients in 49 states all across the country. We talk about building wealth, private real estate deals, handling your assets well, all these different things. How do you monitor your finances? All of these things are things we help our clients to do. Using life insurance to become your own bank. We set up massive life insurance policies that clients can leverage to buy real estate. All of these are things we can do. Right. And a lot of times the questions people ask a lot is, and especially when people are getting started, they think that there's a million things they need to be doing. And people think that the finances need to be complicated. They think it needs to be complex because they're like, oh, this wealthy person has a complex financial structure. So they think their finances need to be complex. Look, your finances, all the stuff just needs to be simple, and you just need to take more actions on things. You don't need a very sophisticated